Japan, the land of the rising sun. A nation renowned for its technologically advanced cities, its rich traditional culture, and its immense natural beauty. Together, these qualities make Japan one of the most sought-after tourist destinations in the world, attracting millions of visitors each year. Yet surprisingly, this openness to outsiders is a relatively recent phenomenon in Japan's long history. For more than 200 years, from the 17th to the 19th centuries, Japan's borders were firmly closed to the outside world. This period, known as Sakoku, was not a time of stagnation. Instead, it witnessed a remarkable flourishing of Japanese culture, rapid economic growth, and profound societal development, achievements unlike anything the nation had seen before. From this era emerged many of Japan's most iconic cultural treasures, legacies that endure to this day. But how did this island nation transform from centuries of isolation into one of the most developed and open societies in the modern world? This is the history of Japan. The archipelago that forms the modern nation of Japan has been inhabited for nearly 40,000 years. The earliest settlers migrated from mainland Asia, bringing with them vital skills such as agriculture and metalworking. These innovations laid the foundation for permanent settlements and, eventually, the earliest Japanese kingdoms. By the 3rd century AD, much of southern Japan had united under a centralized power centered in the Yamato region. This system was ruled by a monarch known as the emperor. Japan's early history was deeply influenced by cultures from the Asian mainland. In the year 552, Buddhism was introduced from Korea, reshaping spiritual and cultural life. Later, in 645, the Taika reforms transformed Japan's political structure, modeling it after the Chinese imperial system. Initially, the Imperial Court had no fixed capital, relocating with each new emperor. That changed in the year 794, when Emperor Kammu established a permanent capital in what is now Kyoto. This marked the beginning of the Heian period, an era that would last nearly 4 centuries. Over time, the imperial court grew increasingly detached from the realities of governing the wider country. Its authority weakened, and power gradually shifted into the hands of local noble elites. From this shift emerged a feudal system. Power was no longer centralized in Kyoto but distributed among regional warrior clans. Among the most powerful of these were the Taira and Minamoto clans, supported by highly trained samurai warriors. Their growing influence culminated in the Hogan Rebellion of 1160, sparked by disputes over imperial succession. This conflict escalated into the Genpei War, fought between 1180 and 1185. In the end, the Minamoto clan, led by Minamoto no Yoritomo, emerged victorious. Yoritomo established a new military government in Kamakura, far from the imperial court in Kyoto. In 1192, he was granted the title of shogun, great general, becoming the de facto ruler of Japan. Thus began the shogunate, a system of military rule that would dominate Japan for the next 700 years. In the 13th century, Japan faced one of its greatest external threats. The Mongol Empire, under Kublai Khan, demanded Japan submit as a vassal state. When no response came, the Mongols launched a full-scale invasion. In 1274, their forces landed on Kyushu, confronting a smaller but determined samurai defense. Then, nature intervened. A massive typhoon, later known as the Kamikaze, or Divine Wind, destroyed much of the Mongol fleet. A second invasion in 1281 met the same fate. Once again, a devastating storm wiped out the invading forces. Though Japan was spared conquest, the cost of defense nearly bankrupted the shogunate. Many samurai went unpaid, fueling unrest and resentment. In 1333, Emperor Go-Daigo attempted to restore imperial authority through rebellion. Though briefly successful, he was overthrown just 5 years later. Power returned to the shogunate under Ashikaga Takauji. Yet real authority lay with regional daimyo, feudal lords who ruled their own territories. Rivalries among these clans led to constant warfare. In 1467, the Onin War plunged Japan into chaos. This marked the beginning of the Sengo period, the age of warring states, a century of near-constant civil war, assassinations, and shifting alliances. It was an era of innovation as well. Ninjas practiced espionage and sabotage, while warrior monks marched onto battlefields. In 1543, everything changed. A Portuguese ship, blown off course, landed on Tanegashima Island. For the first time, Europeans had arrived in Japan. They brought firearms, trade networks, and Christianity. Muskets rapidly transformed warfare. By 1556, hundreds of thousands of firearms were in use across the country. One warlord embraced this new technology more effectively than any other, Oda Nobunaga. Using gunpowder weapons, he began the process of unifying Japan. After his assassination in 1582, his follower Toyotomi Hideyoshi rose from peasant origins to supreme power, completing the unification of the nation. Upon Hideyoshi's death, civil war erupted once more. The decisive battle came in 1600 at Sekigahara. Tokugawa Ieyasu emerged victorious. He established the Tokugawa shogunate, ushering in over 2.5 centuries of peace known as the Edo period. Japan prospered culturally and economically, but at a price. The Tokugawa rulers imposed strict social controls and outlawed Christianity. In 1639, Japan sealed itself off from the world once again under the policy of Sakoku. Only limited trade was allowed, confined largely to the Dutch enclave at Dejima. This isolation endured until 1853, when American warships under Commodore Matthew Perry arrived in Edo Bay. Faced with overwhelming force, Japan opened its ports. The resulting upheaval led to the fall of the shogunate and the Meiji Restoration in 1868. Power returned to the emperor, and Japan embarked on rapid modernization. Railways, factories, modern armies, and Western institutions transformed the nation. Japan soon emerged as a major global power, winning wars against China and Russia and expanding across Asia. But ambition led to catastrophe. In 1941, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, drawing the United States into World War II. The war ended in devastation, marked by the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In defeat, Japan chose a new path. Under post-war reconstruction, the nation rebuilt itself, not through conquest, but through industry, innovation, and peace. By the late 20th century, Japan had become one of the world's leading economies. A nation forged by hardship, resilience, and transformation. This is Japan.